Hello, John from Peter Tyson. Got new speakers or just want better sound? This guide should help you unlock your system's potential. But before we start, this is a general guide for getting the best from your speakers in a sweet spot when you're sat in the middle of them, for focused listening. If you don't care about that and you're just filling a room with sound, some of these tips can still help you out. There are no hard and fast rules or magical measurements. Every speaker interacts with every room in a slightly different way, and we all hear slightly differently too. Experiment, take breaks, let your ears adjust to the changes. Before you even play the first track, forgive me, this sounds really simple, but check your speaker cables are connected correctly. Red to red, positive, black to black, negative at both the speaker and amplifier ends. Out of phase connections are a shockingly common mistake that degrade sound and completely destroy your stereo image. Using banana plugs makes this easier and more secure. Some speakers offer bi-wiring with 4 terminals. This allows separate cables for high and low frequencies, potentially improving sound. If bi-wiring, remember to remove the metal bridging posts. If you're not bi-wiring, some enthusiasts like to use cable bridges instead. Always budget for appropriate quality speaker cables for your level of system. And remember, it's all subjective. Cheap cables will indeed hinder your system's performance. Conversely, overly pricey cables for your system may well make your speakers sound different, not always necessarily better. Take advice and try different ones if you can, to find something you not only like the sound of, but the look of. Although some high-end systems will require it, not everyone wants speaker cables that look like a fire hose trailed across their carpet. Speaker burn-in is often debated, but from experience is quite real. New speakers often have recommended burn-in time, whether it's hours or even hundreds of hours. This allows mechanical parts like the speaker suspension to loosen up and move more freely, usually improving or at least changing the sound. You may notice the difference after just a few hours. If you only listen occasionally, this change can take a very long time and will be very gradual. Don't be surprised if you need to fine-tune placement after a few weeks or even months. Your room is the biggest factor in what you actually hear from your hi-fi. Large flat walls, hard floors and windows all reflect sound. Soft furnishings like thick rugs, curtains and upholstered sofas, and these rather nice wood panels behind me that seem to be very popular at the moment, all help to absorb and or diffuse reflections and improve overall clarity. If your room is particularly echoey and lively, perhaps consider some room treatment. I use some GIK acoustic panels here in the studio because the sound was atrocious, and the sound is so much better now, not just for listening to music, but how my voice comes across on a microphone. This is not endorsed in any way, and we don't stock them. I just think they're really good. Hello, John from Peter Tyson. Hello, John from Peter Tyson. Placing speakers close to walls will amplify bass. Placing speakers in corners will exaggerate this even further. This can make sound boomy and muddy and obscure detail in the music. Try and avoid corners if possible. If you have ported speakers that are overloading the room with too much bass energy, try using one or both port bungs that likely came with your speakers. This will reduce airflow through the port and can clean up the bass if your speakers cannot be ideally placed. Use good quality stands for bookshelf speakers if your room and decor allows. This not only improves the sound but raises the tweeter closer to ear level when you're sat down in front of them. For both stand mounters and floor standers, use the spikes if you have carpet in your room, or rubber pads on furniture and hard surfaces to improve the bass tightness. Ensure speakers are level too, not just left to right, but front to back. Now this is my method for fine tuning. I like it because it's efficient and it gives clear A-B comparisons. The key is comparing 2 positions at a time rather than moving speakers around at random and just getting lost and frustrated with the process. 1. I like to start with how far apart the speakers are in relation to you. An equilateral triangle with the 2 speakers and your listening position is a really great starting point if you can. If not, just get as close as you can. Too far apart can make the stereo image diffused and vague, making it hard to place sounds in 3D space. Too close together compresses the sound between the speakers and sounds all squashed together and localized. 2. the distance to the wall. This one's really important. Compare a closer to you position, basically as far from the wall as you or whoever you live with are willing to put the speakers. This is position A, with a further away position, B, being close to the wall. Listen to both and pick the better one. Then move the worst position incrementally towards the better one in 5 or 10 centimetre increments, depending on how accurate you want to be. Repeat, always keeping the best sounding position and moving the worst one until you just run out of room and you've found the sweet spot. Once the distance from the wall is set, repeat the process for toe in. This is slightly angling the speakers in towards your listening position. Parallel with the wall, the speakers interact with the room more and can sound wider and more expansive. Toe in can help focus the stereo image in front of you, locking instruments and the vocalist into place. This comes down to your speakers, room and personal taste. 4. Your listening position. If you can't move your speakers, try adjusting your listening position forwards or backwards if you can. This can be helpful if you sit close to the wall opposite your speakers. Try it as a test. Just leaning forwards a few inches in your chair can change the sound of your hi-fi quite dramatically. And even if your amplifier offers room correction software, this manual fine-tuning still helps and gives the software an easier job to do. That's all well and good, but what kind of music should you use for these tests? Use short clips of music that you know well, but I also highly recommend trying new tracks that you've never even heard before. This will avoid bias. If you've listened to the same system for a long time, this can skew what you think a track should sound like. And I understand we don't all have the luxury of listening to lots of different hi-fi every day. It's not just about how much bass and how much treble either. Use a comfortable listening volume for you, take your time, and these are the things I think you should be listening for. Musicality. Do all instruments blend well and sound in time with each other, or are they muddled and hard to follow along with? If there is a bass line, is it clear and defined, or a vague one-note drone that just cuts through the music and draws attention to itself? Imaging. Can you pinpoint where instruments and vocals are in 3D space and follow each one individually? Or is it very clear that sound is just coming from 2 speaker boxes? Are you noticing small details that you've never heard before? Or is something missing that you usually expect to be there? And this is the big one. Does the music sound more engaging and enjoyable to you? Because at the end of the day, that's what your hi-fi should be for, enjoying your music. Music does something to us as human beings. It can evoke powerful memories, make us smile, make us dance, make us cry. And think about it. Do you use your hi-fi to listen to music? Or do you use your music to listen to your hi-fi and pick faults with it? Ultimately, it's your system, so you need to be happy with it. Trust your ears, and a well set up budget system can sound incredibly impressive. Likewise, the most expensive system in the world can still sound subpar if not given the respect it deserves. So I hope this helps you improve your sound. Got questions? Leave a comment down below, email me or call in and ask one of our lovely friendly experts in store. Happy listening, and you'll see me in the next video. Take care.